the parasha is a very short parasha. So what I did, I decided to get a little essence, because these are commands to elaborate on what we learned last time. So I said, just to bring the summary without details. So I selected one of the summaries that are much more in detail, that tells us exactly how everything works. So we will uh, maybe instead of the 10 minutes that we need, we may give another 5 minutes more to the details that are there. But I decided to select this summary instead of just one line once, because it is the mitzvah. The parasha is about getting into the details of the nitty gritties of the mitzvot of sacrifices. So, to do justice to it, I also in my summary selected a summary which will go into the details. Okay. Now, may I have a volunteer to read? Nothing is changing on your screen. Okay.
No,
No,
it is not changed.
No.
still on the
So let
first
me
page only.
let me do this, and then it will change.
Now it's come.
I know, I
Gone
know.
to the second page.
Problem
Thank
is
you.
my setting, my computer
Uh,
setting is the problem. Every time
Somebody.
this is what happens. When I make the screen big, it basically locks it. Okay. So do I have a volunteer, or shall I go ahead? Because we have a very big parasha and very short time. I mean, very good, very parasha is short, but we have a lot of ideas that I want to discuss. And let's
Can I read,
use the best.
Rabbi?
Please go ahead. Go
Can I
ahead.
read?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
God speaks to Moshe again, telling him to command Aaron details about the priestly sacrificial offerings. The burnt offering must burn in the fire of the altar, even if required all night. The priest should don his garb and shovel out the innermost ashes that remains of the offering. He should change his clothes and remove these ashes from the camp. The fire of the altar should be continuous. It must never go out. Every morning, the priest should kindle wood and arrange the offerings. Aaron's son should bring the gift offering to the front of the altar before God. The high priest should take 3-finger fistful from the offering. He should make this, along with the frankincense, go up in smoke as a pleasant aroma before God. Whatever is left over, Aaron and his sons should eat in the holy place, the tabernacle's courtyard. This portion is God given to them and most holy.
Frankincense is what we know in India as dhoop. So we are all very very much conversant with dhoop, right? So you know the smell of dhoop is very very uh, flavorful sort of. Although we don't eat it, we smell it, but it is a very sort of soul stirring or satisfying. That's what has to go with all sacrifice like this. Okay, so that is frankincense. Let's move up. Yes, would you like to continue, or somebody else would like to continue? Please
I don't mind if no one else is there.
go ahead.
The gift offering of a sinner must be given with the proper intention. The voluntary gift offering needs no special intention, and any of Aaron's sons may eat it. This is eternal law. Anything that touches this offering becomes holy. On the day a priest is initiated, he must bring such an offering from fine flour. The high priest must bring this kind of offering daily. This statute is eternal. It must be burnt completely, a pleasant aroma for God. Nothing may be eaten from it. The sin offering should be slaughtered in the same place as the burnt offering. It is most holy. The priest who offers it should eat it. It should be eaten in a holy place. Any food that touches it becomes holy. If any blood from the sacrifice is sprinkled on any garment, it should be washed in a holy place. If the meat of a sin offering is cooked in earthenware, that pot must then be broken. If it is cooked in a copper pot, it needs to be scalded with boiling water or fire, and then is permissible to be used again. Every male priest may eat from this most holy offering.
Good. Over here, you will see that the mitzvah of uh, Agalat Kelim, in fact, is learnt out from this mitzvah of how a copper pot, which was used in the Beit HaMikdash, could be made kasher again to be used for regular purposes. Because, or regular purposes, that is, once it has absorbed the blood in it, it needs to be blood or the holy meat, then it has to be purged for regular use. And we will be doing this mitzvah today and tomorrow, whenever, before afternoon tomorrow, that or before sundown today. We have to do it today because by 10 o'clock tomorrow we should have all kosher utensils in. So it's very interesting that we are learning about this mitzvah from the source by coincidence in this particular Shabbat portion. Yes. Next.
Should I?
Yeah, go ahead. Is
Yeah.
there anybody who wants to volunteer? I don't want only one person to have the whole load. That's
Yeah.
why.
No,
You are
no,
reading
not
very
a problem.
well. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. A sin offering brought with blood may not be eaten. It must be burned. The holy guilt offering should be slaughtered in the same place as the burnt offering. Its blood should be dashed upon the altar. The priest should offer the sacrificial fats and organs, making them go up in smoke. Every male priest may eat from this most holy offering. Both the guilt offering and the sin offering belong to the priest who does the offering. Bake the meal offerings belong.
Meal offering are gift offerings. Meal offerings, another word for gift offerings.
Oh, baked meal offerings belong to priests who offer it. Dry meal offerings are those mixed with oil, belong equally to all Kohanim alike. When a person brings a thanksgiving offering, along with it, he should bring 10 unleavened loaves mixed with oil, 10 unleavened wafers smeared with oil, 10 unleavened loaves baked from flour that is scalded and mixed with oil, and 10 leavened loaves. This is a peace offering. He should give one of each kind of bread to the priest who dashes the blood of the offering. The meat of this sacrifice should be eaten on that day. No leftovers allowed. If an offering is voluntary, the meat may be eaten on that day or the next. Leftovers should be burnt completely on the third day. If his intention in offering is that it should be eaten on the third day, the offering is invalid. If the meat touches anything ritually impure, it should not be eaten. The soul of a ritually impure person who eats the meat of this offering will be cut off from the people.
Okay. Let's have somebody else. No volunteers? Come on, guys.
It's not gone to the next slide. I think it's the same slide now, Joshua, Rabbi Joshua.
No, this
the
is
children
next.
of Israel.
Next.
Not?
Now.
Have you seen?
Yeah, it's now come to the fifth slide. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I'll read it. The children of Israel should not eat sacrificial fat from an ox, sheep, or goat. The soul of a person who does will be cut off. They should not eat any blood. The soul of a person who does will be cut off. Any person who dedicates a peace offering to God should bring the offering from the animal personally, especially the fat of the chest, waving it before God. The priest should make it go up in smoke. The chest belongs to Aaron and his sons. A portion of the right leg should be given to the priest as an elevation offering.
Anybody else?
It has to go to the next year. Okay.
Yeah. Has it changed?
Yes, it has.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
Yes, Ashley. Go ahead.
God speaks to Moshe, telling him to gather Aaron and his sons, bring the garments, the anointing oil, the sin offering bull, the two rams, the basket of unleavened bread, assemble all of the people at the entrance of the tent of meeting.
Now,
Moshe does.
if we have 1 second, if we are a little confused, what is it talking about? This goes back to the earlier, whenever we are given the mitzvot of the Mishkan for anointing. What is necessary? What were the clothes? What were the sacrifices? How was the anointing oil made? Everything we have in detail. Now Hashem is commanding Moshe to tell Aaron to gather all that stuff, whatever has been made ready, and come and anoint him, and anoint and sort of elevate the priests, so that they, till now they have not become priests as yet. They are just regular Jews, regular Bene Israel, children of Israel, right? At this point, they are supposed to get elevated to a higher level, and that is what is being told to them now. So bring all the stuff that you have gathered, whatever you have prepared, and assemble all the people at the entrance of the tent of meeting. Go ahead.
Moshe does this. The people assemble. Moshe tells them that he is about to fulfill commands from God. Moshe immerses Aaron and his sons in water. He dresses Aaron in the garments of high priest. Moshe anoints the sanctuary and everything inside of it, signifying it. He sprinkles oil 7 times on the altar. He pours oil on Aaron's head, sanctifying him. He dresses Aaron's sons in the priestly garments. Moshe brings the sin offering bull, and Aaron and his sons touch its head. Moshe slaughters the bull, putting its blood on the altar, sanctifying it. He then makes it go up in smoke as commanded. He does the same with the burnt offering ram, a pleasant aroma before God.
Somebody else will take the last 2 slides, please. Guys, please volunteer. It's okay to make mistakes. It's fine. Don't worry. You won't. We will all understand. Who would like to read? No volunteers? Okay, let me take it. He brings the inauguration ram clothes. Aaron and his sons touch its head. Moshe slaughters it, placing some of its blood on the cartilage of Aaron's right ear, on the thumb of his right hand, and on the big toe of his right foot. He does the same to Aaron's sons. He pours the rest of the blood on the altar. Moshe places an offering, sacrificial fats, organs, and limbs, as well as one loaf of unleavened bread, one of bread boiled and fried in oil, and one wafer, in the palms of Aaron and his sons, waving them before God. He makes this offering go up in smoke. These inauguration offerings are a pleasant aroma for God. Moshe waves the chest as a wave offering before God. This portion belongs to Moshe. Moshe sprinkles anointing oil and blood from the altar on Aaron and his garments, on his sons and their garments, sanctifying them. He instructs them to cook the meat at the entrance of the tent of meeting, to eat it there with the bread, to burn the leftovers. He tells them they should not leave the entrance of the tent of meeting for 7 days. The same process must be completed on all 7 days as a means of atonement. They must do this, Moshe says, lest they die. And this is our parasha. Okay? So, that we have the eve of Pesach. On Motzai Shabbat, we are celebrating the Seder. I would like to touch on some ideas that have some parallel with Pesach also. Okay, so we will be able to even study some ideas for Pesach, that you will have ideas on the table for Seder to discuss with your family, as well as understand our little more in depth. When we see the parasha in general, sacrifices and details of sacrifices, there are basically two sections to the parasha. One is the sacrifices, details about it, and second is the anointing of Aharon and his sons to become priests, right? So overall, it seems what could be the connection with Pesach at all, right? But there is a very deep connection with Pesach. Let me tell you. First of all, you will see that with the meal offering or the gift offering, the mincha offering, there were matzot that came on the altar, or they came to the Kohanim, right? And something, part of it was burnt. So the matzot connection, we think that matzah is something that is connected with Pesach, and it's the symbol of Pesach, but it is the symbol of the Beit HaMikdash, really, that we use also in Pesach. So we spoke about it last time. At least those who were present for the class, we spoke about Pesach on Sunday, that there is a deep connection between matzot and the Beit HaMikdash, because it has to do something with the descent of the Shekhinah. Correct? We spoke about it last time. And that's why matzot are the symbol of Pesach, because that's the original descent of the Shekhinah in Egypt. Then we have another idea, the initiation of the Kohanim. So now let me remind you, all those who wear the tefillin in the morning, they say a paragraph that is there in the tefillin boxes on your hand and on your head. And what does it say? Kaddish li kol bechor peter kol rechem bibnei Israel ba'adam u'b'behema lihu. That is how we start saying the Kaddish li. You should sanctify for me every firstborn that comes in the land of Israel, that is born to the Jewish people, Jewish mothers, and they will be sanctified for me, for my work. Do we do that? No, we don't do that. What we do today is we redeem that firstborn from the Kohen. Why? Because after the sin of the Chet HaEgel, the Jewish people really proved that they were not able to stand in the presence of the Shekhinah, and they would get hurt by that. So instead of the Jewish people, we redeem the firstborns of the Jewish people, and the Kohanim, who were the sons of Aharon, were selected. Really the direct connection. And this Kadesh li Kol Bechor is the parasha for Yetziat Mitzrayim. Why? Why was it Kadesh li Kol Bechor? Sanctify me for me, the firstborn of Israel. The sanctification of the firstborn of Israel came because the firstborn of Egyptians were killed, and the firstborns of the Jewish people, the Bnei Israel community, were not, and God passed over their houses, which is Passover. That's why these boys, these firstborn, and into eternity, these firstborns were supposed to be sanctified to God. Because otherwise they were gods. God could decide to kill them. These souls were, see, for God, an Egyptian and a Jew, really both are his creation. If he decided to take the soul of the Egyptian, then as well the soul of the Jew becomes his. But the soul of the Egyptian cannot stand through the Shekinah, so it gets vanquished. But the soul of the Jew could stand, and that's why he was supposed to become the Kohen. But we proved that we couldn't stand, and that's why instead of the souls of the Jews, who were the firstborns, we have the priests. So when we are talking about initiation of the priests, this is something that is happening straight back, connected to the firstborn story of the 10th plague in Egypt, right? And that is what we are celebrating when we are celebrating Pesach. My battery is a little low. Let me just give me a second. I'll put it to charge. Okay. So that is the second connection between our parasha, the initiation of the Kohanim, and the leaving of Egypt. So we need to go into depth about this whole procedure of the initiation of the Kohanim are going to reveal us something more about Pesach for sure. Okay, there is this direct connection. There is a third connection, and that will remind me the discussion I again had on Sunday with Uncle about the egg on the Seder table. Why do we have an egg on the Seder table? We have the egg Zecher Korban Toda. So whenever we came to Yerushalayim, right? If we came for Aliyat HaRegel for one of the three main festivals, Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, or we just came to Yerushalayim just because I felt that I wanted to say thanks, or maybe somebody made a mistake and had a transgression inadvertently and wanted to bring a sin offering or a guilt offering or whatever, comes to Israel, Yerushalayim. When he comes over there, one of the things he does is a korban toda, a thanksgiving offering, because he feels that whenever he comes to Yerushalayim, he should bring a korban toda. The memory of that korban toda is in the egg that we keep on the Seder table, Seder plate, and korban toda is discussed in detail on our parasha again. So there is another connection, because the korban toda was also brought by all those who came to Yerushalayim. And you will see that there is a discrepancy, because in the korban toda you have to bring 10 loaves of unleavened bread. Although the 40 loaves, I believe, or 50 loaves, something like that, out of that 40 are or 30 are, go back and just check this out, because I am, 10 unleavened wafers and 10 unleavened bread. He doesn't give a exact figure of how many leavened ones. Also 10 leavened ones. I think there is something mistake. There had to be 30 unleavened ones and 10 unleavened. Maybe I am wrong. We can again check the original source, and maybe my typing could have been in error. Let's see. My memory said something else. Parashat Tzav. Sorry about this, but it's always better to check that we are not learning something wrong. Thanksgiving offering. If he offers it for Thanksgiving, he should offer unleavened wafers, with oil and cakes of flour. This offering with cakes, leavened bread, he shall offer along with the okay. So the numbers are not there in the parasha. The gentleman who decided to write this, brings it from the oral tradition. Okay, fine. Just checking. Okay, it comes from the oral tradition, whatever that figure of 10. Anyway, but here we have to bring leavened as well as unleavened bread, right? So how do you come? You come for Pesach. How do you bring unleavened bread? So when you come for Pesach, really Pesach sacrifice is a day before, on the eve of Pesach, right? So you come before the time and you bring the Todah a day before, early in the morning, so the Kohanim have enough time to eat it by 12 o'clock in the afternoon. And then in the evening you give the Pesach sacrifice. Any which way you would have too much meat to eat if you gave it in the same evening, right? So the Korban Todah, which is also an animal and also a meal offering, you gave in the morning or the day earlier prior to it. That was how it was. Because whenever you entered Yerushalayim, wanted to make preparations and everything, that's the day when you entered Yerushalayim, you gave your Korban Todah, and the Korban Pesach was given on the 14th evening. Anyway, so you had ample time to finish the leavened breads. The Kohanim had ample time to finish the leavened breads because it was given a day before or even earlier, 2 days before. Whenever you came into Yerushalayim, you should have done that, Korban Todah. Anyway. So that is again a connection between our parasha and Pesach. So isn't it amazing that there are so many things that in the first look we are unable to see, but it is always true that the parashiyot somehow relate with what we are experiencing in our reality. I would like to, normally I have my idea for the climax, but I'm going to take a detour because once this idea is so important that I need to share it with you, the beginning of my discussion, so that the discussion will be taken in the right spirit. Now, what I'm going to discuss is not in our parasha, but was the beginning of our parasha is a chain of different pieces of information, which began from the mitzvah to build the tabernacle. Correct? The mitzvah to build the tabernacle, when Moshe went up and asked for forgiveness, he was given that according to our tradition, right? There are differences of opinion when he got the mitzvah. According to the Ramban, he got it in the initial first 40 days. According to other traditions, he got it after he came back after 40 days. We were found worshipping the golden calf. He punished the people. He went back again twice, 40 and again 40, 80 days. And on Yom Kippur, he came back with pardon, right? So in that second set of 40 days, he received the mitzvah to build the tabernacle because HaKadosh Baruch Hu understood that we were unable to cope up with the abstract idea of worshipping God and that his Shekinah will dwell amongst us in our houses. So we were unable to deal with that. So we decided that we will have what we would call a framework in space, so that we will be able to have the Shekinah descent over there and we won't get hurt. And so the whole structure of the tabernacle was to do that, to not have the people have the Shekinah amongst them because they were unable to remain at the state of Kedusha that they were expected to be. Okay. So that is the beginning of this chain of mitzvot, and we are about to now enter into the final stages of when the Mishkan was made and completed, and now the initiation of the priests. But we will both very clearly remember that the end of the mitzvot given to Moshe Rabbeinu to make the Mishkan he is commanded about Shabbat, and for whatever reason, Moshe changes the pattern and begins with Shabbat and then tells them about the Mishkan, right? The question is, there are a lot of connections. We have also discussed the connection of the Mishkan and Shabbat, and we spoke about a lot of ideas. But there is one very, very deep and very crucial idea of the Shabbat that we all need to know. The whole of Judaism is based on this idea. Whole of Judaism. If we understand this idea to the core, we will also understand the differences between other spiritual ideas and thoughts as to how to uh, grow spiritually. And this is the idea. Shabbat is a part of creation according to our tradition. Shabbat was the seventh day, which was sanctified and blessed and made holy by Hakadosh Baruch Hu way back when Adam was created. Correct? So Shabbat is in the makeup of creation. But it doesn't happen that as I observe Shabbat and I understand Shabbat, that God rested, no river stops flowing, and no animals rest on Shabbat, or no creativity stops on Shabbat. Every woman who needs to give birth gives birth on Shabbat or not on Shabbat. Everything that is happening in creation is happening as if there is no such thing as Shabbat. How you cannot. If we see in creation that animals were created, I can see animals. If we see in creation birds were created, I see birds. If I am saying that in creation Shabbat was created, where do I see Shabbat? Do I see Shabbat in creation? No, I can't see Shabbat in creation, because Shabbat is, in essence, something beyond the physical, right? So we can't see it. We can't really put our finger down that, because Shabbat is weaved into creation, it is the seal of Hakadosh Baruch Hu on the seventh day that he completed creation. Let me try to find it. Creation, you won't find it with the eyes we have. With the 5 organs we have, we won't find it. But the Torah says, when we are commanded the 10 commandments, we are instructed to keep the Shabbat. That is the basic thing that the Torah tells us to make a covenant with Hakadosh Baruch Hu. You need to keep the Shabbat. What does it mean? Even before the Mishkan and even before the everything, when we have decided that we want to have a relationship with Hakadosh Baruch Hu, a covenantal relationship. Shabbat is already one of the prime things that we will keep, like Brit Milah, like Shabbat. These are the covenantal principles on which we struck a covenant. We struck a contract with HaKadosh Baruch. What is Torah requesting of us? You shall keep the Shabbat. You shall make Shabbat holy. You shall do this Shabbat. Well, what is the thrust of the Torah? What is the secret behind it? Because a covenantal people, to make a covenant with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what does it really mean? To make a covenant with something which is eternal, something which is beyond the physical, something which is the creator of everything, the physical as well as the metaphysical, right? The creator of everything. When you want to struck a deal with him, what does it mean? That we want to really relate with something which is spiritual. Spiritual in the words of the spirit. I'm not talking about spiritual as in understood context of being a good person. That is also being spiritual. But when I'm using the word spiritual, I'm using it from the word spirit. That is something which is beyond the physical. Yeah. So when I want to make a covenant with Hakadosh Baruch Hu, I want to touch that aspect of the spirit, right? And to be spiritual, I need to have Shabbat. Without Shabbat, according to the Torah, we won't be able to be spiritual. Why? So the mystery is like this. However, so much I want to see God with my eyes, I can't. I want to smell God with my nose, I can't. I want to feel Him with my fingers, I can't. Right? Our sense organs cannot deal with the spiritual. Sense organs are not capable. Even in my mind, not only the physical sense organs, even the intellectual organs that I have. The organ of memory, the organ of uh, rational thinking, the organ of intellectual thinking, the organ of uh, imagination, all that intellectual capacities I have, right? They cannot also touch God. They cannot. God is beyond all that. We can think about the word God, but to, for example, a Nabi who interacts with experience is beyond all that, beyond the physical senses, beyond his intellectual sense organs, right? So how do I go to that beyond? The way to go to that beyond is by there is in dramatics there is a word called trying to remember, it's not role playing, but it is called I think it maybe the word is role playing, but role playing is playing a role. But I am wanting to say that you have to make believe that that is the case. Okay? What do I mean by that? Although I cannot see that no birds are stopped on Shabbat, no bird is resting on Shabbat, no animal is resting on Shabbat. They go their own way in creation. The rivers are flowing on Shabbat. Everything is nature is on its way. But I know through divine intervention that Hakadosh Baruch Hu, through Moshe Rabbeinu, taught me that I rested on Shabbat. Right? So I have this piece of information that goes beyond any logic to tell me that God rested on Shabbat. I don't even understand what God rested. How God was not working, so how did He rest? We don't know what was that rest of God, right? We have all the ideas that we have shared earlier, but we don't know exactly because it is a spiritual aspect that God brought into existence. But one thing we do know is that the Torah tells us that something beyond the physical happened on Shabbat. If that is the case, then I have to play act as if that thing is experienced by me. That is the whole crux of the Torah. I have to play act, and not only Shabbat. Through the Shabbat, I believe the whole idea of believing in God. Where does it come from? Did you have an experience where you experienced God? No, my forefathers taught us that there is one God. Or did you really check it out? Do you know for sure? Not rationally, not intellectually, experientially. Did I have a prophetic experience that there is a God? So why do I trust it? I trust it because it works on the same principle as Shabbat. God says, play act. You play act your life as if there is one God because I'm telling you so. You play act as if Shabbat, there is a principle of divine grace. There is a principle of blessing that comes every Saturday. You play act as if it is there. Is it going to, you are going to feel it? No. You play act. Why do I play act? Because by play acting, by believing, you will open a, a, a aspect in you. You will open a totally different dimension in you where you will be able to experience it. That dimension is there in you. The way you open that dimension is by play acting what the truth is, the spiritual truth. So you ask all the big rabbis, right, how they feel about Shabbat. They started off like everybody else, play acting. They started the Shabbat play acting. Oh, I won't touch electricity. I won't do avoda. I won't melacha. I won't do this. I won't do that. I will spend time praying. I spend time studying. I spend time resting. All that is just a initial phase where they decide to keep Shabbat as the Chachamim have recommended. But at some point, it just so happens that they start getting a taste of what this Shabbat is. Just you can't explain it, and you will never be able to explain it. That is one reason why Kabbalah. What is Kabbalah? Why is Kabbalah called a sod? It is called a secret, right? And we talk about it in a lot of circles. You see, Madonna is learning Kabbalah and this Kabbalah and that Kabbalah, right? They say that it is a very ancient secret that needs to be, we have come across it, and that ancient secret has to be revealed. You can never reveal the Kabbalah. I can't teach you Kabbalah. Why? Because it is the experience of Shabbat that is yours. You can't explain it to somebody else. It is like eating an ice cream. You can only buy an ice cream for your friend and give it to him, and then he knows what is an ice cream. Similarly, when you open this aspect with the principle that Torah is telling you, then you will experience what is there in truth, in reality. That's why all these rabbis are they are addicted to Shabbat. We are all addicted to Shabbat once we know what it is really doing for us, right? It is opening a totally different realm of experience. Now, coming back to our why am I saying this? It is I'll just give you a physical example. You know, an iron and a magnet, right? The iron is a piece of metal which has no special qualities, but a magnet is a piece of iron with special qualities. Correct? How does the iron become a magnet? The iron, to get those special qualities, to raise itself to becoming a magnet, that it will attract others and it will be able to do things like create electricity and stuff like that, right? That magnet is a piece of iron, but with special qualities. How does a regular magnet become an iron? He has to play act. So how does he play act? You bring a magnet and just start rubbing with the regular iron. At some point, that iron will experience magnetic properties and then start its composition. Whatever atoms will start falling in line, north south pole, and they will all become magnetic. That is even in physical reality. This is the case. The same principle is in spiritual reality. I can sit and pray, and I imagine that I am speaking with the Creator. The first 5,000 days, first 5 years, five whatever, 20 years, maybe I am just play acting. I am just doing a drama that there is this Creator in front of me and I have to bow down to him. And it is same with Shabbat. I imagine that this whole extraordinary atmosphere is brought in by the sunset on the eve of Friday. I just believe it. I say, Likha Dodi Likharat Kalla. The Kalla is coming. I just play act the whole thing. After 20 years of doing that, it is like a magnet. It will open a channel that you will be able to experience those experiences, because that is the truth. The Torah is telling us to know the truth. You cannot be theoretical and say, "Oh, let me just wait and rationalize and figure out if this is true. Then only I will start believing God. I will no. Why believe God? I want to know God. What know God? You don't have the capacity here, nor here, nowhere to know God, except if you open a totally different dimension in yourself. And how to open the dimension? Like rubbing the magnet. So the Shabbat is the principle of telling you, you play act. You play act. I have put it inside of you, this capacity to experience the beyond. But you have to play act to open that capacity. Now coming to all the ideas that I have been saying from our parasha. This whole play act was one thing that the Kohanim were asked to do in the Beth HaMikdash. In the Beth HaMikdash, they were initiated into a level where they had to, those 7 days, they had to play act. Their initiation. That was the play act stage where they were initiated. Every day, blood was sprinkled on them, whatever. They were play acting that they were holy. They were play acting that they wanted to experience the divine. They were play acting something. 7 days, God knows, he tells Moshe, in this atmosphere, with my Shekinah down there, or with my presence in the tent of meeting outside, I can promise you that is the period that they need to do it, and this is what they do, and then they will be initiated into a realm which is beyond. That is the initiation process, and this is how it works. It's not necessarily only for Kohanim. You, me, and any Tom, Dick, and Harry, not even Jewish, should try it. It takes time, but it will open that beyond for you. That is the only way you can open the beyond for you. If your intellect stops you, then you have to convince yourself that this is something that you have to try, and only after trying it for years together you will be able to open this channel, this dimension, this faculty in you. Okay. So what if we study it in detail? How are we doing on time? I am 4:25. So let us in another 20 minutes. I'll share with you some ideas from the parasha and how they connect. But the first principle why I spoke about this was that the experience of Pesach, or the going out of Mitzrayim, is an ongoing experience. Like Shabbat comes every 7 days, this happens every time 15th of Nisan comes in the year. The experience of the descent of the Shekinah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, out of his mercy, decided that Jews cannot walk out of Egypt without my help. Because he had made the promise, you will read it in the Seder, made the promise to Abraham Avinu. He went beyond the natural course of things, gave us Moshe Rabbeinu, and brought his Shekinah among the people, through which amazing things happened. And it was not one-time thing. It was year-long plague after plague, and they were going up and up and up in their understanding of God. And then finally, at the 10th plague, they will be able to bring themselves to a level where they can move out of the constraints of Egypt as is Mitzrayim, something with Tsar, which is constraint, right? So that experience is true for all of us. We are again today. Where are we sitting? We are in our houses with masks. We are all constrained. Some or the other thing is holding us back. Some of our realities, unfortunately, are very, very similar to what must have been the realities in Egypt. Over there, Pharaoh was keeping us or lording over us. Today we have a virus which is lording over us. And if it is not the virus, then we have different other factors that keep us down from really, flowering into what we ourselves can achieve and be as our higher realities. Right? The Torah is suggesting this is what you need to do on Pesach. Just imagine, like you imagine Shabbat, just imagine the Shekinah has descended. It is helping you to go beyond the constraints of whatever is limiting you. The whole Seder is towards that end, right? You see, if you just play act the whole thing as if, when you think that Eliyahu opened the door, you think that Eliyahu is standing over there. When you are thinking that this is what the Mitzrayim story is, that you are eating the bitter herbs, or you taste the bitter herbs and feel the pain inside of you, that we are slaves, and feel the joy inside you that you are now free. And whenever it says nitzak, that people screamed to God, and they opened themselves and asked for help. You asked for help. All that, whatever the Seder goes, you go through the whole play act. When it is down, you go down. When it is up, you go up. You just play act. And that experience is there. That is what the Torah said. Every 15th of Nisan, that experience has opened itself up. You just have to get on track to experience it and benefit from it. Just benefit from it. Now you can want to, when it says Nitzak, you can ask for some material gain, or when it says Nitzak, you can decide for some spiritual gain. But it is your call, and He will give it to you, because His Shekinah has descended. Anyway, it descends because it is built into creation. Once it happened, it is cyclic, because creation is cyclic. It will happen again and again and again on the same day. That is what is Pesach. Now let me come to the idea of initiation of the Kohanim. Rather, let me also take you to another idea of when we parted the sea, also from Pesach, the parting of the sea. So what was really that symbolism of? The parting of the sea was the creation of Am Israel, as if the womb waters had parted, and it was the birthing process of the nation of Israel. Right? That is a very strong symbol in Judaism, because it says that blood, which is a very important aspect of birthing, right? It's a very gory process, but a new child is born, right? Similarly, the whole atmosphere was a very, very frightening atmosphere at the parting of the sea, but Am Israel was born from there. Similarly, what we see in the initiation process of the Kohanim is the same or similar process for somebody who is suffering from leprosy. In the Jewish time, it's a different kind of leprosy, not the medical leprosy, but it is called tzav. A tzav, after he was checked and he had healed, right, by the Kohen, then he went through a similar process of purification, and he had to bring, like the last line over here, the same process must be completed on all 7 days as a means of atonement. What did the Kohanim did? Sin that the Kohanim commit, that they were doing an atonement for themselves. Why should the Kohen atone if they are being raised to a level of Kedusha? Why should they atone? Right? A Nazir also needs to bring an atonement. What did he do? Why did the Kohen, what did the leper do? He was hit by leprosy, a medical problem which has a spiritual significance. Did he? So the Hachamim say yes. There is a problem with lashon hara in the leper, and that's why that he brings a atonement. In this case, what is the problem? What did the Kohanim do wrong that they are bringing an atonement? If you see the blood which is touched to their ear and your finger and the toe, and the 7 days that they are kept in the tent of meeting, these are the same things that a person who is cleared from leprosy needs to go through to come back into Israel. And one way of understanding leprosy was that death entered a living person, sort of that part of his limb had experienced death. That is what is leprosy. So, because that is what is leprosy, he is made to go out. But once he heals himself, he is reborn. So, this whole process is again a birthing process for the tzav, and for the Kohen, it is again the symbolism over here was of a birthing process. For 7 days, they were kept in the tent, and then they emerged out, and they were as if reborn when they were initiated. So, what is this birthing process that the Kohen comes out on? Right? Israel came out from Mitzrayim and were born as a nation. The Kohen comes out of the tent and becomes sanctified to Hakadosh Baruch Hu, as if they were on a level which is higher than the regular creation. The leper, the tzav, is on a lower level. He is on a level which goes, even the regular Israelite is on a level of Kedusha which is higher. So the leper, when he wants to re-establish his connection with the Jewish people, he goes in from a symbolic birthing process and comes on their level. What is the level that the Kohen goes up to? Is the question. If we know what he is atoning for, we will know what he goes, what is the level that he has reached, and I feel from the way we were re-establishing, and we have been talking about re-establishing Gan Eden on earth, right? The whole concept of what Adam was supposed to achieve in Gan Eden was not achieved. And through Israel, we are supposed to achieve. The only thing that they have to atone for is his sin, because they are re-establishing the connection with Gan Eden. The Gan Eden where HaKadosh Baruch Hu was traveling in and out. He was passing by. Gan Eden is a state where the Shekhinah dwells. The Shekhinah's presence is, when we say Gan Eden, is where the Shekhinah dwells. So, Gan is now where the Shekhinah dwells. So, to come up to a level where the Shekhinah dwells, they have to reconnect. But there is a broken shard over there. What the broken relationship is because of the eating of the fruit. So now they have to atone. They are symbolically atoning for humanity, for Adam and Hava, and re-establishing the connection with Gan Eden. So they are re-entering the state, whatever. Symbolically, the Mishkan represents Gan Eden, and symbolically they are re-entering Gan Eden as representatives of humanity, not only Israel, but humanity. Okay, so that is the initiation process of the Kohanim. How is it related with the firstborn? Today is, in fact, everybody is fasting. The firstborn is fast. So it is very important for us to understand that how it is related with the firstborn of Israel. And that is related with the firstborn of the Mitzrayim who were killed. How is it related? The 10 plagues really were a descent of the Shekhinah from the different spheres, let's say. Okay, so let me explain. The Torah, oral Torah, tells us that there are 10 ma'amarim. There are 10 speeches through which God created the world. The first one is not, and God said, "Let there be light," or God said, "How is it?" Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. Yomer Elohim yehi or, right? So we think that it is let there be light. That is the first way the bear, right? Yomer. But according to the tradition, Bereshit bara Elohim. That bara is itself the first saying, and they count it from there. Bereshit, the first beginning is the first one. Or is really the second one, and they go down from till they count 10 ma'amarim in the whole creation story. In the 10, when you will be spilling the blood, you will maybe have time to make some homework over here and see the relationship. There is a very beautiful book by a rabbi called Jeremy Kagan, who brings this relationship, that which is learned from Kabbalah, that the first, what was the first makkah, the first plague was blood. Okay. What is the last creation? Blood, animals, right? Life was created. What is the symbol of life? It is blood. And you take it back, you do the homework and take it back. So the first relates to the 9th, first relates to the 10th. The 10th or the last creation will relate to the first plague. So you see the second last plague is what? Darkness, absence of light, because light is the second creation. And then what was the first creation? Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. The creation itself, Bereshit, that is the first one. Bereshit is the first. The last plague is the first one. What is the first one? The firstborn. That is the last plague, because it goes to Keter, that level where, according to Kabbalah, you have the whole Sefirot. It is the first Keter, right? So it basically disturbed or attacked or affected the first in creation, which is the firstborn. That is because the first Ma'amar, that is the first, that according to Kabbalah. When it did that, right? Whatever was revealed from down below to the topmost. So the topmost power of the Shekhinah was being revealed at the 10th plague. And that topmost power was, we were supposed to convert it into something that will help us out of Mitzrayim and become a holy nation. We were supposed to convert it. While the Egyptians were not able to convert it, they would get hit and they lost their firstborn. Not only their firstborn, the firstborn of animals were also perished. Everybody's firstborn. Right? But with Am Israel, we were given some symbolism. What was the symbolism? We were supposed to put blood on the doorpost. Again, a birthing symbol. The door became a womb, and we walked out of the door to freedom. Another birthing symbol, right? Symbol of breaking the womb and coming out. Now, that connection is the connection of returning back into Gan Eden. Am Israel at that point are in a state where they returned back to Gan Eden. So, Gan Eden as in a place where the Shekhinah dwells. In this world, we are unable to experience the Shekhinah, but in Gan Eden, you have that faculty that I was speaking about that experiences the Shekhinah. God is everywhere, but we don't have a faculty to experience Him. That's why He is absent from our world. How do I, with Adam, he had the faculty working. With you and me, the faculty is asleep, and we need to sharpen it till it starts become sensitive to the presence of Hakadosh Baruch Hu. And how do you sharpen it? You sharpen it by play acting, and you sharpen it by experiencing that aspect which is the beyond.
Rabbi,
Once
sorry.
you
What
start,
was the first word you said?
what was the
Sharpening it by
play acting? Oh, you
play
came
acting.
late, Nisim.
Oh,
I spoke about it as I initiated the
no,
class.
I
You have
heard,
to,
but I just missed the whole word completely. Today the Teams is a little scrappy. I'm seeing you hung and frozen. I don't know if it is a problem with everybody, but I'm with you. I missed the initial part, but I'm with you.
so you
Thanks,
should have.
thanks.
Joshua, you're not on screen.
That now, can you see me? Can you see me?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
No, we can
Yes,
see
yes,
you.
yes,
We can see
yes.
you.
Nisim,
But it is. Yes, yes, we can see you.
can you see me?
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes.
So
Sorry, continue,
tell
continue.
me, is this
We can't hear you.
better? We will try
Listen,
some
we can't
policy
hear
from
him.
here on. We have not much time. We will finish it in 5 minutes. But so the two ideas was first is play acting. Play acting and can you guys hear me?
Now we can. We heard your question.
Remind me the question again, Sim.
No, the question, when you asked, can you hear me? I said, I am hearing this question. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So what I was saying, two aspects from play acting, and then the second stage is once you are able to get flavor of this beer, then you have to go for it. You have to keep entering that space so that you will be able to enter Gan Eden. That is the space of Gan Eden where you can experience the divine, the Shekhinah, and it's okay. That is uh, that is uh, in general, that is the thrust of what we are saying when we decided that it is Pesach on 14th. What we are saying is we are going to enter or re-enter a realm of those 2 days in India and those that one day in Israel. When Pesach happens, the Shekinah descended, and it is going this year and every year on Pesach. What we have to do is we have to tune ourselves so that initially maybe we have not trained ourselves so to play act, and at those times tune ourselves to experience that, and that's why we play act. Like earlier, we even in the original Pesach, they did the Pesach offering and ate matzot with it, right? They start the sacrifices with matzot in it. But really, if the Shekinah has descended in the Beit HaMikdash or in the Mishkan, then no dough is going to go sour. But that happens later. That happens on the second stage, right? First, you have to play act. You bring in the matzot that you are on a level where the dough will not go sour. And then the second step is you will open yourself up so that the dough will not go sour. So let me wish everybody a Hag Kasher Sameach, so everybody will be able to open themselves up, play act as if the Shekhinah is sitting next door to you, next on in the chair next to you, and and that will help us to open the faculty to develop spiritually from it. Okay? Any questions?
No one.
Yes, uncle, तुम्हाला question है? Go ahead.
All the time I got the question. By this question, you say the firstborn of man and the animals are mine.
All died. Yeah.
Firstborn of man and the animals are mine. The
No,
animals
I said firstborn of Jews are yours. Firstborn of all Egyptians and animals died. That's what I said.
no. It is written also the firstborn of the man and the animals are mine. इथं ॲनिमलला कमांड हे आहे का नाही, पिदियोन आहे का नाही?
No, only a donkey has a pigeon. Other animals, no. But kosher animals, you have to sacrifice.
Only the donkey, you mean to say?
Yes, only the donkey needs to be redeemed. Yes.
But when the firstborn of the Egypts were killed or died, even the
Yes,
dogs did
yes,
not
yes,
bark.
yes.
असा लिहिलाय. Even the dogs did not bark.
Yes,
ह्याचा अर्थ काय?
right.
Animal of the
There are quite a
donkeyचा is example
there are
आहे.
quite few opinions. The opinion I hold is, this is how I understand it. Not even a dog bark is really, a dog is a very sensitive animal. The reason people
Then
have
also
a
he
pet dog.
is very sensible. Then also he is not bark.
Let me finish. I know. I'm just answering your question. Let me finish. People keep dogs so that they themselves are unable to keep a watch out for activity happening around them. But if they have a dog, then they know that the dog is super sensitive to all the activity, because he is very, very conscious in about the physical surroundings, right? The dog has special sense organs that allow him to become sensitive about it. So I believe if the Shekinah or any angelic force is also in the vicinity, a dog somehow responds to it.
Not hearing.
On that
ऐकायला येत नाही बरोबर.
day, with the Shekinah passing over the houses,
Others, please
Yeah.
mute. It's breaking.
can't
Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking.
Rabbi, your voice is breaking. I'll you know what? I'm muting everybody. Rabbi, please unmute yourself again. Rabbi, you'll have to unmute yourself and then let's see if we are able to hear you properly. Rabbi?
Okay. Can
Yeah.
you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to repeat Uncle's question. I said that dogs have a quality of being super sensitive to not only on the physical aspect, but even on some metaphysical aspect. If there is some angelic force, they are supposed to start barking. They will see some kind of metaphysical activity around them. Also, dogs will respond to it. That's the nature of dog. And in my opinion, with the Shekinah over there, obviously the dogs would have responded to it. But the miracle was that dogs understood that this is something so huge and powerful that they they just kept quiet. They didn't respond to it. Even the dogs. Their opinion again. They maybe they are, I know, opinion that interpret it otherwise. You guys with me? Any more questions?
Last thing, I did not hear you. What you said the last one?
I said that the Shekinah was bound to be sensed by the dog, and he would have responded to it by barking. But the dogs didn't do that because of their maybe they were frightened, or maybe they were just shut down by the Shekinah, but they did not respond normally. So they didn't bark.
He has not barked, that is all right. Me kabul hai na, it is written, it is he did not bark. पण एक कुत्री बारकी बच्चा पाळला आहे, तिला जे मुलगा झालाय ना, माझ्या समोर जन्मलंय ना, तिला मुलगा झालाय, पहिला कुत्रा झालाय, तर त्याला साठी आणि सरी निर्दोष, मला त्याला त्यासाठी काहीतरी द्यायला पाहिजे.
No.
यू कॅन से नो विच इज
जोशुआ, ते एलिएझरचा कायदा आहेत ना, त्याच्यामध्ये क्लाल वे प्रात, इफ फ्रॉम जनरल रूल one is specifically said out, then you don't go back to general rule. Not all animals, only donkey. Not all animals, no dog, nothing else.
all animals, it is written in the Bible in white, black and white, like all animals are mine.
Uncle, there are laws, 13 principles on which we understand Torah. If there is a general rule, if written animals, and then a donkey is specified, then you can't
donkey is an example. Donkey is an example.
Yes, so if donkey is specified in Torah, you can't go back to all animals. If food is written, and then
let me explain that to Uncle. Uncle, you are right. You understand that the donkey is mentioned as an example, right? So
yes.
Tell me, doesn't the Torah know that you know what is an animal? Doesn't the Torah know that you know what is
then
an
why
animal?
the Torah writes
The
dog did not bark? Why he writes that?
Again,
is the example like he has not barked.
That is something else. I'm just trying to explain what Jeremiah is telling you. So you
No, I agree with him also. Someone has written some book, and in that book he has written the law. I don't say anything about that. But understanding karal jal. If you try to understand, then it says that it should be. You can say the donkey, the cows, and
but you are not listening to me. But you should listen to me, no? I'm trying to explain, no? Why is it written like that? In that some book, that whatever is there. Why is it? What is the rationale behind it? That I'm explaining, no? But you should listen to it first. So the rationale is like this. If I am saying animals, right? You understand what is animals. Everybody understands what is animals. So why should I give you an example of any animal in particular? If I said animals, it means animals, right? Why is there a need to give an example? Can you explain that to me? Is there a need? When I say animals, you understand animals, right? Why is there a need to explain animals? So the principle in the Torah that we have figured out is if Hakadosh Baruch Hu says animals and then he specified one animal, then we have to go only with that one animal. That is the decision taken in the Sanhedrin. They decided this is how we need to interpret the Torah. Why? Because we don't understand why the Torah specified this animal. Okay. So you want to add donkeys and monkeys and dogs.
I don't say. जर घरामध्ये पाळला असेल तरच, दुसऱ्याची बात नाही करत मी. माझ्या घरामध्ये आहे तरच. All no argument for this.
माकडं पण पाळू शकता ना तुम्ही, पण नाही द्यायला. काका मी बोलले नाही द्यायचा.
But nearly they are not. एक राम मला बोलला का there is difference between this.
We have a mind that can interpret however we want. So we go according to a majority. The majority was sitting there in Jerusalem once upon a time doing these discussions like you and me. But by majority decision, they decided that because of this particular that is coming after a general, we will go only with the particular. That was a majority decision. That is the halakha.
All right. But somebody said behema and chayot is different. The donkey comes in the behema and dog comes in the chayot. जनावर मध्ये येते, मोठा जनावर मध्ये येत नाही म्हणून तो आहे.
Okay. Fine.
Okay, God bless you all and thank you for
All
conversation.
right. Thank you.
I have another minute. Any other
Yes.
questions regarding the topic we are talking about? Yes.
I don't have a question, but I found session beautiful. One second, somebody is asking. Yes, go ahead, please.
I'm Noreen.
Hi, Noreen. How are you? Go ahead, Noreen. Please ask. Can you hear me? We can't hear you.
Noreen,
Noreen, muted. Niskin, can you check?
one second, I'm checking. I can't see Noreen now.
You got disconnected.
Looks like she was asking something, I think. I can't see her now. I can't see her listed. I can see 15 people. Anyway, maybe I'll call her after some time. I'll just check if she wanted to ask something or comment or what happened.
Yeah, no, she wanted to ask. Yes.
I can't see her.
Are there any other questions? Maybe she'll be able to reconnect.
It says that you are unmuted.
Go ahead, Noreen. We can hear you now. We lost you for a few moments, but now we can hear you. Please go ahead. Noreen, you're on mute. I think you're pressing something. I can see the microphone and an X. Now go ahead.
The donkey is a beast of burden that the Jews used to build the pyramids. So that's why I feel the firstborn of the donkey died. Hello?
Rabbi, did you hear what Noreen said? I think we lost Rabbi now. What's happening today?
I think there's an issue with the teams or there's internet issues today.
I was also facing some problems initially. Anyway, we'll wait for a few seconds, see if Rabbi Khalid joins. If not, we'll conclude.
But Nisim is on mute.
Rabbi Joshua?
He had joined from two devices, I think so.
I think he is on mute, Joshua.
One of the devices is on mute, but his phone or whatever
Can you hear me?
we've lost. Yes, Rabbi, now you are with us.
Yeah.
Noreen, you want to repeat what you just said? Noreen, you are on mute. Now you go ahead. Go ahead, Noreen.
The donkey was the beast of burden that the Jews used to carry their material for the building of the pyramids. That's why maybe the firstborn of the donkey died, didn't survive.
Could be, yeah. There's a lot of understanding of why only the donkey is chosen over the other animals, although it's their animal. But
Why the redeem?
But I'm not going to go into that just now. Anyway, you could be right. Yes, there are the donkey was helping the Jewish people, and he was
Exactly.
part of this
Donkey helped the Jewish people
slavery
to go out from
experience.
the Egypt.
Hmm?
Donkey helped the Jewish people to go out of Egypt, carried his burdens and all these
Yeah,
things.
certainly, you're right.
And that is why he is redeemed. Pidion hai tela. That is why it is you
No, we
should.
don't know why. No, we don't know why. We don't know why. You are saying that is why, but we don't know. Either because it helped them come out of Egypt, or because it was their beast of burden when they were being by the taskmaster. They were being worked as slaves, as Noreen is saying. Whatever could be the reason, but there is a deeper Kabbalistic reason, which I'm not going to go into it now. But sometime in another class, I'll touch on it. But
Pidion,
not
but
relevant
donkey
to
la
our
pidion hai
Come
na.
soon.
There is a
Pidion hai.
pidion. Pidion hai
You have to
donkey la.
redeem it.
आहे
You have to
बोललो.
redeem it. You're right. You're right.
Donkey la pidion hai. त्याला सोडवायला लागतं.
But let us, समझ लो ना. Let's move on.
All right.
Any other questions to what we talked about?
No, Rabbi, I think no more
Well,
questions.
Chag Tizku Leshanim Rabot, Chag Sameach Vekasher, and Shabbat Shalom Mevorach.
תודה
Amen.
רבה. חג פסח
Shabbat
שמח
shalom, bacha. God
וכשר,
bless you.
everybody. Happy
Thank you,
Passover. Rabbi, thank you very much for this excellent session. I missed the initial part, but I'll catch up. And thank you to all the participants. Please stay safe and
Thank
healthy
you.
and have a
I also thank to
yes.
every participant. You are hearing me, and God bless you all, and all your wishes be fulfilled from the God, and He
Amen.
give you whatever you wish from Him. Thank you very much.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you
you.
for the
Thank
blessings,
you.
uncle.
Thank
And
you.
God
thank you,
bless.
Ashley,
I am just saying the
for
good words, not blessing. I am not blessing anyone. I just say
thank you
good
for the
words.
good words. And thank you, Ashley Jacob, for stepping in. I was not available I was out, but thanks, Ashley, for recording. And thank you, Rabbi Joshua, once again.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Enjoy. Hag
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Sameach.
Rabbi.
Nissim. Chag Sameach.